This is the history of protest songs in the United States. Part 12. The 21st Century. The Iraq War and the Revival of the Protest Song. After the 1990s, the protest song found renewed popularity around the world after the turn of both the century and the third millennium, as a result of the 9/11 attacks in America, and the Afghanistan and Iraq wars in the Middle East, with America's former President George W. Bush facing the majority of the criticism. Many famous protest singers of yesteryear, such as Neil Young, Patti Smith, Tom Waits, Jake Holmes and Bruce Springsteen, returned to the public eye with new protest songs for the new war. Young approached the theme with his song, "Let's Impeach the President," a rebuke against President George W. Bush and the war in Iraq, as well as "Living with War," an album of anti-Bush and anti-war protest songs. Smith wrote two new songs indicting American and Israeli foreign policy, Kana, about the Israeli airstrike on the Lebanese village of Kana, and Without Chains, about the U.S. detention center at Guantanamo Bay. R.E.M., who had been known for their politically charged material in the 1980s, also returned to increasingly political subject matter since the advent of the Iraq War. For example, Final Straw, 2003, is a politically charged song, reminiscent in tone of World Leader Pretend, on Green. The version on their Around the Sun album is a remix of the original, which was made available as a free download from the band's website. The song was written as a protest against the U.S. government's actions in the Iraq War. Waits has also covered increasingly political subject matter since the advent of the Iraq War. In The Day After Tomorrow, Waits adopts the persona of a soldier writing home that he is disillusioned with war and thankful to be leaving. The song does not mention the Iraq War specifically, and, as Tom Moon writes, it could be the voice of a Civil War soldier singing a lonesome late-night dirge. Waits himself does describe the song as something of an elliptical protest song about the Iraqi invasion, however. Tom Jurek describes The Day After Tomorrow as one of the most insightful and understated anti-war songs to have been written in decades. It contains not a hint of banality or sentiment in its folksy articulation. Waits' recent output has not only addressed the Iraqi War, as his Road to Peace deals explicitly with the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and the Middle East in general. Springsteen was also vocal in his condemnation of the Bush government, among other issues of social commentary. In 2000 he released American Skin, 41 Shots, about tensions between immigrants in America and the police force, and of the police shooting of Amadou Diallo in particular. For singing about this event, albeit without mentioning Diallo's name, Springsteen was denounced by the Patrolmen's Benevolent Association in New York, who called for the song to be blacklisted, and by Mayor Rudolph Giuliani amongst others. In the aftermath of 9/11, Springsteen released The Rising, which exhibited his reflections on the tragedy and America's reaction to it. In 2006 he released We Shall Overcome, The Seeger Sessions, a collection of 13 covers of protest songs made popular by Seeger, which highlighted how these older protest songs remained relevant to the troubles of the modern America. An extended version of the album included the track, How Can a Poor Man Stand Such Times and Live?, in which Springsteen rewrote the lyrics of the original to directly address the issue of Hurricane Katrina. His 2007 long player, Magic, continues Springsteen's tradition of protest songwriting, with a number of songs which continue to question and attack America's role in the Iraqi War. Last to Die, with its chorus of, "Who'll be the last to die for a mistake? Whose blood will spill, whose heart will break?" is believed to have been inspired by Senator John Kerry's 1971 testimony to the U.S. Senate, in which he asked, "How do you ask a man to be the last man to die in Vietnam? How do you ask a man to be the last man to die for a mistake?" Gypsy Biker deals with the homecoming of a U.S. soldier killed in action in Iraq, and Springsteen has said that "Livin' in the Future" references extraordinary rendition and illegal wiretapping. Long Walk Home is an account of the narrator's sense that those people living at home he thought he knew, whose ideals he had something in common with, are like strangers. The recurring lyric, "It's gonna be a long walk home," is a response to the violation of certain things such as what we'll do and what we won't, in spite of these codes having been, in the words of the narrator's father, set in stone by the characters. Flag flying over the courthouse,